This is Christine Via, Creative Memories Advisor, with part 3 of the cruise layout. And I wanted to cut a couple of sample-sized photo options. This would be an 8 by 10 size. And I want to show you what that looks like on here. So it's quite large. And if we put a mat behind it, and yes, I'm choosing the stripes, and I'll explain, this needed to have some pattern to it. And this is about 1/4 of an inch mat all the way around. And the rope in here and the canary molten kind of pick up on each other. And then we have the darker blue from this blue and the white, and then the lighter blue picks up some of the, is from the colors in the background. So to me, it really coordinates together, and that's kind of my thought process when I choose these things. Now, we have some options, and this is an 8 by 10 that trimmed down. Now, sometimes you can't trim the photo down. It all depends on your photo, but you could also take a snapshot photo that really epitomizes the cruise experience for this trip for you, and you could blow it up and position it so that you do an 8 by 10 printed up, but you cut it down. This is 7 by 9, and this leaves more room here, but you can see positioning it centered here, it would work. That size would work. Okay, I'm starting to get the vision. I cut this background paper so it would have 1/4 of an inch mat, so you could see the size of it. So if I had a cruise and I needed to do a cruise page, I would choose this option of blowing up a picture large enough so that when I trimmed it down, I wouldn't lose the integrity of the photo and the positioning of the photo, but it would still fit on here and leave me a little bit of space. So I am going to be brave, and I'm going to trim this down, but I'm going to do something a little bit differently. I'm going to take the stamping blade and I'm going to first trim 2 edges and then decide how large I want to make the border. So when we're on trips, we sometimes send home postcards, and sometimes postcards can have an edge, but then there's the stamp, and most stamps have this little stamped edge. Now what I am doing is I'm on the last line of my mat for my trimmer, so you can very faintly see this other line. The cutting line is here, and the last cutting line is there. There's a big enough groove that I can see it, but I'm using it. This is a little tricky when it's down to this. I'm trying to keep it straight, but I'm going to trim off this edge. This is like 1/8 of an edge. Oh goodness, I need to do that one more time. So a little secret about this. With the stamping edge, I want it so that the other edge is coming out here. So what you do is you turn your blade around. You don't turn your paper around. And I have enough play that I'm able to do this. And that's the edge that I want on here. You can choose to do the other side, which is more of the stamping. So I'm going to do this one more time. I very firmly hold my paper in place when I do this. You can see this edge. So either one would be fine. I just wanted this edge here. So I'm gonna very lightly put a little bit of this on there. Now, if you know that you want to do an 8 by 10, then by all means, keep this 8.5 by 10.5. So I am going to go over I might save that for doing a border. And I wanted a border just wide enough to get, to see what it is that was going on the print, but not too wide that it takes up a ton of room. So there we go. And I'm going to put this, we're going to use this blade again. Where I might want to put this. So even reducing the size, this takes up a lot of space. And maybe we want to do some embellishments around the edges. We may or may not want to do that. It's up to us. But I made the decision I wanted to incorporate this paper on the side so that there could be a photo there. And I want to do the stamping edge. And I think 3 by 5, can't quite get a 3 by 5 in there, but a 3 by 4 photo. And this happens to be 4 inches wide, which is going to give me plenty of space. I'm going to start by trimming off the top edge, and I'm going to use it in the same direction. And now I know I want this to be 4.5. So I am going to trim the 4.5. I'm going to trim the sides in a moment. Now we could keep that, I think I want to keep them all the same. And then we're going to do this once again and do it at 4.5. And this is lovely back. So we're going to save this because this could be a journaling box. I do want to have a print on the side. So now we're going to trim this little edge off. And then when we do the last cut, we'll cut it to 3.5 inches. Let's see, 3.5. And you can see this will tuck nicely, and we'll actually tuck that under that little cruise ship. And I don't have, do I have a 3 by 5? A 3 by 4. I'm using one of our blue accordion folders to sort my photo placement mats. And I'm in the process of getting ready to sort my smaller size peekaboo pockets in one of these as well. These are available on the website. So let's see, 3 by 4s. Maybe I've got one right here. And you can see that that's a perfect fit. Now, it could go a little smaller, but I want to at least get the idea that you can see the cruise ship on it. Now, I'm not introducing a ton of colors because what's going to happen is, depending on the kind of cruise you're on, your cruise ship will, the photo will offer a lot of the color for this. I also wanted to do a cruise layout that was neutral enough that it could be for any cruise. And you can see that with these photos and everything, you could do any kind of a cruise around the world with it. So I'm going to take this off. And I wanted to point out, this is really a relatively very simple layout. And it's meant to highlight the beginning, you know, have a little porthole. That's probably the trickiest thing on here. So I'm going to first adhere this down. And you really don't need tons and tons of adhesive. I mean, when I'm in a hurry, sometimes I'll just whip it out. But when you're, when my adhesive budget in March or April, what was it? One of the two, I think it was March to April. About 6 weeks was retail about $700. I can't scrapbook much more beyond that. I mean, that is, did I get that on there straight? I certainly did, I think. And to me, that just looks so pretty. That's really going to highlight the photo. And then you'll have your memorabilia on here as well. So I'm going to tuck this in. Let's see, where's my 11th finger? Let's get some adhesive on here. No. So I want this to not hang over that edge. So, and I'm putting just this mat down first. And I could definitely make this. So this is not adhered down right here, which is perfect for putting a 3x4 photo on there. And coupled with some of the ephemera, memorabilia, ephemera, same thing. It's all the papers that you collect. I put just a little bit of repo here. And I tuck this photo in. Now, this is where I would really, and I love using the write-on stickers. And for those of you who haven't seen them, they actually come like this. And this is the college rule. So it's the narrow. And there's also the wider rule. Depends on how much you write. I do a mix, it depends. But I've discovered in the last few months that you can ink these. Now, I think because this is white on white, I would personally choose to do a little bit of inking, which we can do in video number 4 when we do the final touches and the finishing things. And so I am going to make a note here. This is a 3x4. All right, and we're going to, for the sake of everything, we're going to tuck this back in. And it's possible in the last video, the 4th, I think 4th will be last, I'm going to go to a different orientation so that you can see the whole thing spread out. But that is what that looks like next to this. And so we are going to do a mirror image of it with this one. And let's see if I have another photo mat. I don't, so I'm going to cut this one in half. I am out of the actual photo placement mats right now in the 3x4 size. I'm going to have to go through and take some off of the completed pages. All right, a little bit of this. Now imagine how different this feel would be if you were using Chasing the Sun with all the bright colors. So it would be a lot of fun. I really love that collection. I've used most of it up, or I would have probably chosen to use it for this. Now, there is, I've seen, oh, let's see here. We need to be over a little bit more. Make sure that this lifts up. Doesn't have adhesive behind it. There we go. No, I want that the other way. Do I want that the other way? No, I want it like this. All right. All right. So the next video we will talk about embellishments.